Hi friend, welcome back to the kitchen. I hope you're having a great day. Today I'm in the kitchen making Father's Day recipes. All of these recipes are easy and packed with flavor. So if you're looking for a great Father's Day menu, then you're in the right place. Where I live, Father's Day happens to be right at the beginning of summer cookout season. So my menu is going to feature burgers, sweet corn on the cob, classic baked beans, a warm German potato salad, a green bean salad, and a summer dessert that Dad's going to love. So let's get into the kitchen and start cooking.
First up, I'm making a 3-bean salad. This salad tastes great fresh, but actually tastes even better the next day after the flavors have had a chance to mix and develop in the fridge overnight. So feel free to make this one in advance. The first thing I'm going to do is rinse and drain 1 can of red kidney beans and 1 can of cannellini beans.
You can cook up some dried beans for this recipe, or you can make it super quick and easy by using canned beans.
My next type of bean for my 3-bean salad are green beans. Wash and remove the tips, then I'm going to cut them into little bite-sized pieces. I have a large pot of water boiling on the stove, and I'm just going to add the green beans to a steamer basket. Let them cook for about 8 minutes or until they're tender. Then I'm just going to set them aside to cool. Next up, I'm going to cut 2 cups of cherry tomatoes. You can cut them in halves or quarters depending on the size of the tomatoes. Add these to your serving bowl, and then I'm going to add in some fresh herbs. Rip or dice a 1/4 cup of fresh basil, and finely dice a 1/4 cup of fresh parsley. Then I'm going to add in my 3 types of beans, and I'm just going to top it with a simple salad dressing. You can either mix the dressing all together in a bowl off to the side and then pour it over top of your salad, but I'm going to mix mine right on top of the salad. Drizzle on top 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Then I'm going to add on a 1/4 cup of balsamic vinegar. I'm going to toss this into the salad, and then I'm going to season it with a 1/2 teaspoon of salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. Toss the salad a few times to make sure everything is well coated in the dressing. And this salad is ready to serve right away, or if you're making it in advance, cover the bowl and place it into the fridge until you're ready to serve it. This side dish is bursting with sunny, bright flavors, and it's full of vibrant pops of color. Perfect to bring to a picnic, backyard barbecue, or an al fresco dinner.
Next up, this warm German potato salad is tangy, smoky, and absolutely packed with flavor. This is a quick and easy side dish that's absolutely perfect for Father's Day. This potato salad recipe is made with tender potatoes, crispy bacon, and a flavorful vinaigrette dressing.
I'm going to start this recipe by preparing the potatoes.
Now, most potato varieties will work well with this recipe. You can do Yukon Gold or red potatoes and leave the skin on for a little pop of color. I'm using russet potatoes today just because that's what I have on hand.
I'm going to place 6 medium potatoes in a large pot of water, or the amount of potatoes you'll need to make 6 cups of sliced potatoes. Bring this to a boil, and while I'm waiting, I'm going to prepare the bacon. I'm also going to dice up some chives, but you can replace this with a 1/2 an onion, spring onions, or some shallots. My bacon is cooked and crispy, and I'm going to use about 1 tablespoon of the bacon grease to lightly fry the chives. I'm going to sprinkle in a 1/2 teaspoon of celery seed, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and 1 tablespoon of sugar. Stir in 1/3 cup of apple cider vinegar and a 1/2 cup of beef broth. Stir the sauce together and let it come to a simmer to soften the onions. This is going to make the warm potato salad dressing that's going to coat the potatoes later on. The potatoes have finished cooking and are nice and tender, but they're still firm enough to hold their shape when sliced. I've let them cool enough so I can easily handle them, and I'm just going to scrape my knife along the outside of each potato to peel off the skin and any imperfections. Slice the potatoes thinly and add them to your serving dish. Now I can gently pour that hot potato salad dressing all over each potato slice. And the warm potatoes will start to soak up some of that rich flavor from the dressing. Next, I'm going to chop up that crispy bacon that we made at the beginning. Add this to the potatoes and toss everything together. And just before serving, I'm going to garnish the top with even more diced chives. And this warm, flavor-packed potato side dish is ready to serve hot and fresh. I love how easy this potato salad is to make. It's absolutely packed with flavor and is a delicious alternative to creamy potato salads. And I think the perfect side dish to serve alongside your Father's Day meal.
Now for me, nothing says comfort food like these homemade baked beans. So if you're looking for something a little more special than just opening a can from the grocery store, these beans are sweet, savory, and perfect to serve alongside this Father's Day dinner. This recipe is super easy to make with only a handful of ingredients.
For this side dish, I'm going to start by preparing the beans. I'm going to thoroughly wash 1 pound of white navy beans. Before we can bake this side dish, we're going to need to soften the dried beans. Place them in a large pot with about 8 cups of water. I'm going to bring it to a boil and then simmer for 15 minutes. Remove them from the heat, cover and let them sit for 1 hour. Then bring them to a boil again and simmer for 1 hour, or until your beans are tender. If you have a lot of excess water left over, you can drain the beans, but make sure to hold back at least 1 cup of the cooking liquid. Dice half an onion and add it to an oven-proof dish. I'm also going to add in my softened white navy beans. And now to make my simple but flavor-packed sauce, I'm going to sprinkle in a tablespoon of dried mustard powder, 1 cup of light molasses, a half teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and the reserved 1 cup of cooking liquid. Stir this together to make sure the beans are coated in the sauce. Now this next step is optional, but to add even more flavor to my baked beans, I'm going to add in some salt pork.
Now if you can't find any salt pork at the store, you can leave this part out of the recipe, or you can switch it out for bacon.
Cover the baking dish and then it's ready to go into my preheated 300 degrees Fahrenheit or 150 degrees Celsius oven. And it's going to bake for 2.5 hours. Then I'm going to remove the cover and remove the salt pork to a plate. Place the beans back into the oven for another 30 minutes. This is going to help thicken and caramelize the sauce. And once the salt pork has cooled enough, you can trim off any excess fat and shred or cube the meat. And just before serving, I'm going to add back in the meat and give everything a stir. This hearty bean casserole is super easy to put together. All you need is a little time. Baked beans was one of my father's all-time favorite side dishes. And hopefully you and your family will love this recipe too.
Next, we're going to move on to the corn on the cob. This recipe is sweet, simple, and always a crowd pleaser. When these are in season where I live, you can find these at roadside stands, farmers market, and the grocery store.
To make my corn on the cob extra tender and juicy, I'm going to cook it by boiling it. Husk and remove the silks from all of your cobs of corn. And while I'm doing this, I'm getting a large pot of water boiling on the stovetop. Once the water comes to a rolling boil, you can add in the cobs of corn. If you have a lot of corn to cook, or if your pot is a little bit smaller, you might need to do this part in batches. Make sure each one is completely submerged in the water. After the water comes back up to a boil, let it cook for 3 to 5 minutes. Once they're cooked through, I'm going to remove them to a serving platter. Let any excess moisture evaporate off. These are best served hot and fresh. So try to cook the corn just before serving time. Now there's lots of different toppings out there that you can sprinkle on top of your corn. But if you're able to get your corn fresh and in season, there's nothing better than rolling it in some butter and sprinkling on a generous helping of salt and pepper. This is a fun and easy side dish to serve, and perfect for this Father's Day menu. Now let's move on to the main course. Now, since this is for Father's Day, there's a good chance that you're going to be serving Dad as well as some little kids. And what's more universally loved than homemade burgers? Now, you can absolutely buy your buns from the store, but we're going to go that extra mile today and make everything homemade. I'll leave the ingredients in the description box below the video if you want to use the same recipe that I'm using here today for my hot dog and hamburger buns. The recipe I have here is enough to make 24 buns. I've already mixed up the dough and it's already had time to rise. So now all I need to do is shape it into my buns. Cut the dough into 24 equal pieces. I'm going to be making half of mine as hot dog buns and half of mine as hamburger buns. I'm just forming the dough into a hot dog bun shape by folding it over onto itself twice until it looks like a small log. Keep in mind that this dough is going to double in size before you bake it. To make the hamburger buns, I'm going to fold the dough over onto itself all the way around the circumference of the dough ball. Then flip it over and using your hand, tighten the dough to the counter a few times. I'm going to place all the buns onto lined baking sheets. Then I'm going to set them in a warm spot and let them double, which should take about a half hour depending on the temperature of your kitchen. Then they're ready to bake in your preheated oven until they're cooked through and lightly golden on top. These buns are incredibly soft and tender, and they're just the right size for our homemade hamburgers that we're going to be making next. These homemade hamburgers are incredibly easy to make. I have 2 pounds of beef here, and you should be able to get 4 to 6 burgers out of each pound of beef. Now, as long as you're using good quality meat here, you shouldn't need to add anything to the burgers. I've made burgers with breadcrumbs, eggs, and tons of spices inside, but our very favorite type of burger is always just plain ground beef. So I'm just going to shape each burger by grabbing a chunk of the meat. Press it out into a burger shape. Make sure to make each one a little bit bigger than you'd want it to be in the end. The meat is going to shrink as it cooks. You can also make and shape these the day before. I'm going to place mine on some parchment paper, cover, and then place them into the fridge until I'm ready to cook them. Now, of course, you can cook your burgers on the barbecue, but I'm going to be pan frying mine today. I have my skillet already preheated to medium heat. I'm going to drizzle in a little bit of high heat cooking oil. Something like avocado oil works great here. As soon as the oil starts to shimmer and glisten, you can add the beef. Let them cook 3 to 4 minutes or until you have a dark brown crust on the outside. Then I'm going to flip it to the other side and cover it with a lid. Let it cook about 5 to 6 more minutes or until the internal temperature has reached 165. Remove them to a plate and sprinkle a little bit of salt and pepper on the outside of each burger. And of course, these are best served hot and fresh. I'm serving mine with my homemade buns, and I have a platter of toppings off to the side so everyone can make their own perfect hamburger. And finally, one of the most important parts of this menu, dessert. We're going to be making a really simple homemade ice cream. To a sauce pot, I'm going to add 1.5 cups of heavy cream and the same amount of whole milk. I'm going to stir in 2/3 of a cup of maple syrup, but you could also use sugar for this. And just to balance out the sweetness, I'm going to sprinkle in a pinch of salt. I'm going to stir this on the stovetop on medium-low heat, just until the mixture is warmed through and everything is dissolved together. Then I'm going to cover it, allow it to cool, and then place it in the fridge to chill for 2 hours or overnight. Now you can either make your ice cream by churning it through an ice cream maker, or you can do a no churn version. For no churn ice cream, pour the cooled mixture into a freezer safe container. Then it's going to go into your freezer to chill for 6 hours. Now to make sure it's soft and scoopable, all you need to do is go into the freezer and give it a stir a few times throughout the process. This will also help everything freeze evenly. Now if you do have an ice cream maker like me, I'm just using my stand mixer with the ice cream maker attachment. I'm going to start the machine and then slowly pour the cooled ice cream mixture into the machine. Then all you need to do is watch it churn your ice cream into about a soft served-like consistency. This will take several minutes. I'm going to place the ice cream into a freezer-safe container, cover and place it in the freezer until it's frozen and set. And then this easy ice cream is ready to serve with all of your favorite toppings. And there you have it. That's our easy Father's Day menu. From juicy burgers and smoky baked beans to buttery corn on the cob and classic potato salad. These easy Father's Day recipes are perfect for a small dinner or for feeding a crowd.
I hope this video gave you some inspiration to make your own easy and delicious homemade Father's Day recipes. Let me know in the comments below what you're making for Father's Day this year. And as always, you can find links to all the written recipes in the description box below. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you and your family have a great Father's Day. See you in the next video.
Now I'll let you go get into your own kitchen and cook up your favorite Father's Day recipes.
Thanks so much for stopping by.
Happy Father's Day!